doing a full screen. If it's working. All right. So welcome everyone. Today is your 10th Gita class and your 11th Sunday. And let's begin with the prayer. You can keep yourself muted and read the prayer with me. First of all, we offer obeisances to Guru because otherwise knowledge becomes futile if we cannot remember the Guru. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Now let's say the Panchatantra Maha Mantra together. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrind. Put your hands together and say with me, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nice. Okay. So today's class, I just want to check if anybody remembers why the Gita is important. Why should we recite it? We had discussed this last class, and I had told you about a shloka by Adi Shankaracharya. Anybody learned it? I had sent the voice message also. Did anybody learn it? No? Anyone would like to say it? Okay, I'll display it. If I display it, someone can read it for me. Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yah Pathet Prayatah Puman Vishnupadam Avapnoti Bhaya Shoka Divarjitah. So if we recite the Gita with faith, devotion and comprehension, as we are reading, we are comprehending also, then we will certainly overcome all anxieties, fears and miseries of this material world, right? So I want you all to learn this. Next time I will ask you, I want you all to say, Mama, everyone should be able to say the shloka. So please learn it up. I have posted the shloka in my own voice also. Just play the Tanpura any scale. For me, D scale is actually convenient. I did not share the scale. I did not put the Tanpura today. But you can practice with the Tanpura music, right? Just all of you can repeat once with after me. Gita Shastram Idam Punyam. Yah Pathet Prayatah Puman. Unmute and repeat if you want to.
Yah Pathet Prayatah Puman.
Vishnupadam Avapnoti.
Vishnupadam Avapnoti.
Bhayashoka Divarjitah.
Bhayashoka Divarjitah.
Thank you, Ritika. All right. So now today I have always been telling you, it's very important to chant. So I want everyone to chant today at least three times before we start the class, because every time I say, but we don't do it. And before we go to chanting the Maha Mantra, I want to quickly discuss, why chant? Why should we chant? What is the benefit of practicing to chant, right? So let's look at what the definition of japa, which is chanting, given by Srila Prabhupada. And he says that when any Vedic mantra, including the Maha Mantra, is chanted within the mouth, that is, very softly. If you just say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, that is just within the mouth, that only the chanter can hear. You should be able to hear, okay? It's not that you chant in the mind and it is, the mantra has to be loud. But when you chant it just enough for you to hear, that is called japa. Right? Whenever you chant a mantra loudly and you want the environment to be purified and you want people around to hear it, that is called kirtana. Okay, you'll go like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So like Arav is a good piano player. He'll play some beautiful piano music and sing loudly and enchant everyone into that beautiful, mantra being loudly chanted. That would be a kirtan. But when you're just saying it within yourself, just softly, and you're just focusing, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram, or even a Gita shloka, Karmanye Vadikarasya Mama Pleshu Kadachana. Anything you're saying it just for yourself, little loudly, just for you to listen, that will be japa. So that is Prabhupada's definition of chanting. Why Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Why is, Pravina ma'am talking about Hare Krishna all the time? Because it is a Mahamantra. And why is it a Mahamantra? Because when you say these words, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, it has got a very remarkable power. You can say it softly or loudly. You can say it anywhere, anytime, and it's a Mahamantra also because you don't have to bathe. Usually, if you want to say the Gayatri Mantra, they say you have to bathe in the morning, and there are rules. If you're a girl who is mature, they'll say when you have the periods, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Or if there'll be so many rules. You should bathe, and you should be fresh, and you should sit in a neat place, and your area should not be dirty. There should not be food in your mouth, should not be in the toilet. But Maha Mantra you can do under any circumstance. You can chant it loudly, softly, while you're bathing, before bathing, without even brushing your teeth. Anytime you can chant under any condition, and that person will get protected from all evils of material existence. So it is called a Maha Mantra. Now, today I'll do a little bit discussion about yoga. So Niranjan sir with us is a yoga teacher. And please pardon me if I make any mistakes. But today I'm just going to be discussing how the 8 limbs of yoga, right, is given by the great sage Patanjali. He also, though he taught so many postures and everything in yoga, he also knew that bhakti is the highest form of yoga, which I'm constantly telling you. So it might begin with yamas, which is moral restrictions, right? Do this, don't do that. Niyamas, which are moral practices. Do or be orderly, be disciplined, be generous, right? Do asanas, that is physical postures, hold it for a long time, breathe, right? Pranayam, breath control. Pratyahara, which is sense withdrawal. Keep your senses in control. And I told you last time also you can't do it with willpower. The only way is to develop a higher taste of love for Krishna. And then dharana, which is concentration. Dhyana is meditation. And the final state is samadhi. And the beauty of the Gita is Krishna tells us you can actually escape all of this and reach straight to enlightenment just with bhakti. Right? So I want someone to read this for me. May I have Arav? Can you help me to read why chanting is the best? This is from the purport for Srimad Bhagavatam. So today I've actually taken some shlokas from Bhagavatam for you to look at. So can I have someone read this for me? Arav?
It's the slide. Just in the.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Niranjan, for telling me. You're very observant. Arav, can you read this about yoga?
Yes, ma'am. And this is about yoga?
Yeah, it's about yoga. It's also
But you can see the Gita, the Kirtanam.
You're not able to see this chanting. This one, can you see the screen that I'm sharing with the stones and all that?
No.
Ma'am, it's showing Gita Shastra. Yeah, ma'am, now it's.
Oh God. So you missed all my little bit of, all these, what I've been displaying. All right. So it's okay. Now I'm not going to share the screen. I don't know what's happening when I share the screen. Okay. So read now, Ara. Chanting is the best. This is about the yoga.
Okay, ma'am.
First
Yoga is
paragraph you can read, and second paragraph, who can read? Niranjan, you can try reading the second paragraph.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first paragraph.
Yes, ma'am. Yoga is practiced in 8 different stages: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama,
Pratyahara,
pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Yama and
Niyama.
niyama mean practicing the controlling process by following strict regulations, and asana refers to the sitting postures. These help raise one to the standard of faithfulness in devotion service. The practice of yoga by physical exercise is not the ultimate goal. The real end is to concentrate and to control the mind and train oneself to be situated in faithful devotional service.
Thank you so much, Arav. So the biggest mistake which many people make is when they teach yoga, they'll only talk about the physical posture. Apne feet seedha rakho, this, do that, breathe in, focus, and this and that. They forget to say that, you need to have devotion. And similarly, many people, they teach the whole Gita without even talking about Krishna. Krishna is saying, think of me. And they will not say that. They will say, you know what? Don't have any desires. They'll not be strong enough to say what Krishna says. Krishna says, think of me. I am here, I am God. He's telling you. But you know what people will say? They'll feel embarrassed to talk about Krishna and they'll not mention the word Krishna. They'll not say, think of Krishna. So this is what is the biggest mistake that we as a civilization are making. We forget to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Krishna. And we forget to make him a part and parcel of our life, which will solve all our problems and make us pure. It makes our thoughts very pure if you're able to, overcome envy. We'll do a lot of envy, discussing envy eventually, because envy is the biggest, is one of the biggest enemies. Today we'll talk about the biggest enemy also. What is the biggest enemy in spiritual practice? So let me have, who will read this? Niranjan, can you read about bhava? Yoga is not only physical exercise, you have to have bhava. Everything is useless without bhava. Okay, come on.
Okay, bhavana or bhava is a very important factor in the practice of yoga or in any spiritual process. Bhava is explained in Bhagavad Gita 10.8. Buddha bhava samanvita. One should be absorbed in the thought of love of Krishna. When one knows that Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the source of everything and that everything emanates from him. Ahim sarvasya
Aham sarvasya prabhava. Krishna is saying in Gita, I am the cause of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhava.
The one understands the Vedanta opposes him. Janmadi asamyatha, the original source of everything, and then he can become absorbed in bhava, or the preliminary stage of love of Godhead.
So I want to just say here, thank you, Niranjan. I want to just say here, Ritika was asking me a question, and thank you for questioning. I love when you think and question. She was asking me, is bhakti the ultimate aim? Is there nothing after that? So I told her, yes, it is. But Ritika, I would just like to add one small point here, that bhakti, the pure bhakti or pure love for Krishna is first of all a very long process, which is not very simple. So you can't say, okay, now I've already reached bhakti. Another thing is, in bhakti, the sadhan and the sadhya. Sadhya means, what's the difference between sadhan and sadhya? Can you guess and tell me, Ritika?
Sadhan is kind of a way or
Very good.
like you can go.
Yes.
And another one I don't know.
Sadhya. Sadhya is the achievable goal. The goal which is worth achieving. Okay, so the goal in life which is worth achieving is bhakti. Prem bhakti, love for Krishna. And the sadhan is also bhakti. Through bhakti, you will achieve bhakti. So you actually never reach the destination, because ultimately the path, that is sadhana, and the sadhya, which is the goal, become one and the same. And so you are in sadhana all the time, and you are already achieved it also. but still you are in the process of sadhana, because bhakti becomes a sadhana and it also becomes your sadhya. Okay, so that's why it becomes a never ending, and you have achieved and reached. Once you have done that, you have to keep on purifying, because this world is full of maya and it's going to trick you and tempt you and lure you. Overcoming that through chanting and bhakti is a constant process. It's very powerful. It will really pull your, pull you away all these the worldly desires. All right, so let's quickly look a little more. How can one realize this yoga's perfect state, where you're not only holding postures, you're not only doing karma yoga, any different kind of yoga, you're also including bhakti, which becomes a perfect state. How will you achieve it? Ritika, you can read this slide for me.
Yes, ma'am. The only way to realize the perfect stage of yoga is to follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita as practiced by Lord Chaitanya. This is the simplest and highest perfection of yoga practice. Lord Chaitanya demonstrated this Krishna consciousness yoga system in a practical manner simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, and as prescribed in the Vedanta, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and many important Puranas.
Yes, that is
Ma'am,
right. Yes, dear. Yes, Niranjan.
ma'am, I had sent you something the chat box.
Okay, yeah, I can see a lot of chat. Ma'am, what is preliminary stage in yoga? Preliminary means the first stage in yoga is to simply start loving Krishna. And like I was telling Ritika, the path of starting to love Krishna is also the destination. So you are actually, when you start loving Krishna and you have bhakti, that is the first stage. Preliminary means first. Okay, is that okay now, Niranjan? Right. So now this one I'll quickly read because it's a bit long and I won't read all. I'll just explain to you. When you chant, if you add, now I'm giving you assignments, learn this Bhagavad Gita shlok, right? I am giving you homework to practice and learn. And when you're learning and you're chanting about Krishna, the stories of Krishna, or simply the names of Krishna, your miseries, you try it out. Your miseries will be relieved. I have done that many times. When I'm in a situation and I find something, conversation is happening, it's very unpleasant for me. And I'm feeling miserable about it. In my mind, I don't, show that, oh, I don't care for what you're saying and start chanting loudly. But in my mind, I start chanting or I start saying some shloka which I'm recently learning. And you won't believe immediately the misery, what I'm feeling, the misery is within me, not in the external environment. That disappears like a bubble. It's just gone the very moment I bring Krishna's name in my mind or I try to rehearse a shloka in my mind. It's miserable outside, horrible, maybe hot, maybe somebody's, pointing something at me which I didn't do. It's really horrible what was happening around me. But in my mind, I bring Krishna's name or I chant a shloka. I am free the very minute. So in this Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, verse 23, Prabhupada's purport says that, oh, Arav had gone from the meeting. Okay. Prabhupada says that there are multifarious miseries. I'm reading the purport now, right? In the translation, he says, engage constantly in chanting and hearing about me. Me here, Krishna is saying, Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sadhus, they don't suffer any material miseries because their mind is full of pastimes of Krishna, activities of Krishna, names of Krishna, or whichever Lord, if it's Shiva, then the names of Shiva, whichever Lord that they in forms they're praying to God. Krishna is supreme. You will learn it slowly as Krishna or Vishnu is also a form of Krishna. So, or Krishna is a form of Vishnu, whichever way. When you pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and when you pray to the other different demigods, the difference is you will know as you study the Srimad Bhagavatam very carefully, right? But when you are constantly engaged in thinking of Krishna or his different forms, then you are free from miseries. What are the three types of miseries? Anybody remember that I taught you in an earlier class? Those pertaining to the body and mind, those miseries imposed by other living entities, and those miseries imposed by natural disturbances. Who remembers the three names? Anyone remembers? Adi?
Ma'am, fear.
No, the names in Sanskrit. Adi, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Atmik. Right? These are the three kinds of miseries that is told to us in the Gita. Adi Devik is by nature, Adi Bhautik is by other living entities, and Adi Atmik is by our own mind. Oh my God, that person said this to me. Oh my God, that person did this to me. And you're all the time torturing yourself by your thoughts. So those are Adi Atmik. Adi Bhautik is by other people. People cause a sort of disturbance with other living entities. COVID virus is causing, such a lot of trouble. So we have other living entities. And then we have disturbances caused by nature. Big earthquake has happened or, something like that. So a sadhu is not disturbed by any of these miserable conditions. Why? Because he's in Krishna consciousness. He does not like to talk about this and that. You will also, when you start chanting and going into this path of spirituality, you will find you're not very interested in hearing too much about the news unless it's a part of your job. You have to do an assignment related to what's happening in Russia now. You will have to study that. So that you will do very well because you're going to be offering everything you do to Krishna. So you will do it so beautifully well. Right? So I had told you before that renunciation is not forgetting everything and just praying. No, it's not that. Whatever you do, you offer it to Krishna, and so you automatically do everything you do as best as you can because you want to give Krishna the very best, right? So it's a good idea that whatever you suppose you're cooking, whatever you cook, you want to offer it to Krishna. So you will try to make it as tasty as possible, and then you enjoy everything you do when you start offering. All right, so before we move on to the next, let's have all of you quickly chant three times. Let's begin with Niranjan. Niranjan, can you say the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times?
Okay, ma'am.
You can close your eyes and say it whichever way you want. Say it 3 times. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you, Niranjan. Ritika, can you go next?
Yes, ma'am. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay. Anushka, can you come next? Anushka? Anushka is not here. I think she lost connection. Misha?
Ma'am, she is traveling, that's why, ma'am.
Oh, okay, fine, Ara. Misha? Unmute, dear. Yeah.
What?
Just say the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times, Misha.
Hare Krishna Hare Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. 2 more times, Misha. You said only once.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Hare Rama
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Yeah. Okay, Misha. So practice that. That will be nice. Who is there as Ramani? I haven't seen that before. Ramani? Arav, did you say? Arav?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Arav, can you say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
All right, very nice, everyone. So now, last class I said we will revise chapter 1, 2, and 3, which we have nearly finished. Chapter 3, little bit is left. So I thought we will postpone the long quiz with chapter 1, 2, 3 revision to next class. Is that okay? Will you all be preparing for chapter 1, 2, and 3, a quick test for
Yes,
next class?
ma'am.
Yeah, so we'll give you one more week so I can finish the last few verses of chapter 3, which I had not completed last class. So let's quickly revise chapter 1, in which I want you all to have a quick, pictorial memory of what all we have done from the beginning. In chapter 1, we understood about Dhritarashtra's question to Sanjaya, what's happening in the war. Then we see, and that tells us so much about Dhritarashtra. Then we know about Duryodhana's emotions, how he is fearful. He's also bragging, and then we hear about the blowing of conches and the auspicious signs which are happening, which shows clearly that where there is Arjuna and Krishna, there's victory definitely. And we have all those auspicious signs about Hanuman being on the flag, and all those things which are there on the revision slides. Then we have Arjuna's observation. He wants to see the whole, he wants to see who are those people who are desirous of fighting this war. And so, if the meeting ends, I want you all to please quickly rejoin. We will do till 4, we will complete the class in the next meeting. So please rejoin everyone. And then in chapter 1, finally, from verse 28 to 46, we see about all the reasons which Arjuna gives for not fighting, right? So he is thinking that compassion was one of the reasons. Then what were the other reasons? Traditions being destroyed. And we had learned about 5 of those reasons, remember? So those slides, we can go through the revision slides also, and you can just revise all those points. So this is also chapter 1 overview. How Dhritarashtra is doubtful, fearful, partial. Duryodhana is bragging, doubting loyal ones. And he is also fearful. The auspicious signs are the conch shells. Krishna's presence always confirms victory. Sridevi auntie is also joining us now. Yes, then we have Hanuman, like I told you, on Arjuna's flag. And wherever there is Krishna, Lakshmi Devi will be there because she is a consort of Krishna or Vishnu. So she will be there, and therefore automatically the goddess of fortune, prosperity, auspiciousness, everything will be on that side. And Agni Deva's chariot also makes it, quite obvious that they are going to win. And then we see about how Lord is ever the well-wisher. He listens to Arjuna. He moves the chariot to the center, and he doesn't bother that I am that I am God and I'm the charioteer. God will come in any form and do anything for his devotees. Then we see the symptoms of stress which Arjuna experiences, which we all experience. When we are stressful, our heartbeats will start going faster. We have our hair raising. We just can't do anything. We have to put everything. Oh, I can't do anything. My brain is not working. So all these stress symptoms come to all of us, and that is why Gita is applicable to everyone, irrespective of whatever religion they belong to. And Arjuna therefore finally decides not to fight. Chapter 2, we learned about crisis management, where ultimately how does Arjuna manage to manage his crisis? By what does Arjuna do? Surrenders to Guru.
Krishna.
He becomes a disciple and he accepts his position. Earlier he was a friend, he was, so many things he was to Krishna. They used to be their cousins, right? But now he accepts Krishna as his master, his Guru, and the whole formula changes, and that's how he manages the crisis. And Krishna begins talking about what is your real identity. So the first lesson is the most important lesson in Gita. You stop identifying yourself with this body. So who are you if you're not the body?
Soul.
Yes. And you have to constantly have that in your mind so that you're not dragged into this material world's problems. And you remember two duties. Those who have not read the Gita or who have not become spiritual at all in this whole human birth, and they don't even realize the purpose of human birth is to realize and self-realize. They don't understand that you just don't have duty to your body or to your relatives or to this world. You have a duty to someone else. What is the second duty? First duty is to this material world related, your relations and your children and your parents and all those duties related to this body. What is the second duty that we all should do and shouldn't forget?
Bhakti, chanting, or and loving Krishna.
Yes, that is a duty to the
Lord.
soul. That's a duty that your soul is wanting that. Your soul actually is wanting, that you wipe away this whole material maya, and that you're able to be in the bliss of Krishna consciousness. The soul wants that, but you're just not bothering about the duty towards your soul. And I told you the example of the cage. The cage, children, when the Zoom ends, please rejoin. We'll quickly conclude the class. So I haven't started the chapter 3 last verse. I'm still revising today. So the cage, many people, they have a grand cage or they have a grand aquarium or whatever, and they decorate it, they take care of it and everything. They forget the bird inside, and they're not bothered that the bird may die also. So they forget that the duty really is towards what is within you, the soul. That is a more, that's crucial. You need to take care of your body just so that you live, you survive, so that you can take care of your soul and use this human birth the way it should be used. And then we learned about sustained happiness. We learned that the secret of sustained happiness. How do you achieve sustained happiness in 2.54 to 2.72? And so these were and the secret to sustained happiness, remember what they were? I taught you about the 8 steps of failure. You remember? Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa Sange Seshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sanmoha Sanmohat Smriti Vibrama Smriti Bhranshat Buddhi Nasho Buddhi Nasha Pranashyati. So these are very important two shlokas which tell us that whenever we start, our mind goes to something, desires or something it wants, then immediately what happens? Greed will overtake. And if there is greed, then there is, lust basically, and you want something, and either never you can be satisfied in this material world. Remember that. No happiness in this material world is ever permanent. So it will get over and you'll be angry. Or you want more, there'll be greed, you'll be angry. Right? So when you start thinking about something, I want this, I want that, then it'll end up in greed, or it'll end up in dissatisfaction and anger. Anger will lead to your mind, being lost, not able to think correctly, loss of intelligence, and then the fall, where you will do something which you don't really, don't think that you should be doing. You will definitely end up in a fall. So, and how is it that you will overcome and reach sustained happiness? Through developing a higher taste. And then Arjuna asks, what are the qualities of a self-realized soul? And Krishna explains all these. And this is how a person who is blissful within, this is how he eats, this is how he speaks, this is how he carries himself. So these were what we learned in chapter 2. Children, in chapter 3, we finished 1 to 4. I explained about what is renunciation. We learned about Nishkam Karma Yoga or Gyan Yoga. We learned Niyatam Kuru Karma. Just do your karma. It's chapter 3 is basically Karma Yoga. Because there is no other way other than doing your work. Basically what is Dharma? Dharma is not religion. Dharma is seva. You have to constantly do your dharma, which is seva. Karma Kan to Karma Yoga, we learned the yoga ladder. We learned that some people are, in the beginning, they are just bhogis. They think, I live life and enjoy, this body is only there, and they will just eat, sleep, mate, and defend themselves like animals. They do not realize that the human body is given to us to start our, the step on the ladder of spirituality. They don't see that, and so they are lost. But, we should be compassionate to them, because all of us were at some point in different births. We were all at different stages. So Whenever, everybody will ultimately realize that Krishna is the only way. And even after you realize that Krishna is the only way, you don't start preaching to others who don't understand. Right? So you will not go to your class and tell others all this because they have not yet understood this step-by-step knowledge which Krishna gives in the Gita. It's a secret knowledge. And you have to lead by example. When others are doing their duties and all, you have to be the example. You should be the inspiration. And that is why a pure devotee of Krishna usually, not usually, always becomes a leader in society. They will be leading because they will be doing the best and they will become an inspiration to everyone. Okay, and today we are going to do the last few verses. I think I'll stop here and we will do the last part. What is the greatest enemy? We will do it in the next Zoom meeting. Quickly join again. I'm stopping the meeting. Everyone, please, all of you join again.